Sometimes the heart gets tired of walking without understanding where it is going. You pray, you wait, and it seems that the path only gets more complicated. Things fall out of place, doors close, plans are lost. And in the midst of it all, the question that hurts the most comes up. Did God put me on the wrong path? But no, He does not make mistakes. What confuses you today will one day make sense. The path may be narrow, tiring, and full of curves, but it is the right one, because it was God Himself who put you on it. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. Acknowledge the Lord in all your ways, and He will make your path straight. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. This word is a key. It does not ask you to understand, it asks you to trust, because trust is what sustains you when reasoning fails. The problem is that we have been taught to believe only when everything makes sense, but God's path is almost never logical. He uses detours to protect, pauses to teach, and curves to mature. And what seems like a detour is actually the safest route that heaven has designed. Nothing on your route is accidental. The journey may be full of questions, but there is no mistake on the map. God knows what He is doing, even when it seems like He is taking you away from your destination. He is not a God of improvisation. He is a God of intention. And the path He has chosen for you is not about haste, it is about preparation. What He wants to show you can only be revealed during the journey, not at the starting point. Human beings want a straight path, but God works in zigzags. Because a straight path takes you there quickly, but it doesn't transform you. And God doesn't just want to take you there, He wants to mold you along the way. The pain you feel now may be His tool for shaping you. The discomfort may be His way of teaching you to depend on Him. Each curve is a lesson in disguise, and each silence is a test of faith. God's path is perfect, even when it makes you doubt. What confuses you today is preparing you for what is to come. He never misses the timing or the path. You may even think you are lost, but you are exactly where heaven wanted you to be. This phase that wears you down is not permanent, it is temporary. Its time is already counted, and when it ends, you will understand that everything, absolutely everything, was part of a greater purpose. Because God is not mistaken in the directions He gives you. And the path He has led you on, however difficult it may seem, is still the right one. I would like to take this opportunity to ask for just a second of your attention and invite you to join the community by subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. It is very important to us. When God's plan begins to unfold, it's common for us to be frightened by the twists and turns. The heart wants linearity, but heaven works in adjustments. The path He has laid out for you was never about comfort, it was about direction. And direction often includes changing course. But changing course does not mean losing your destination. It is God's way of ensuring that you arrive there safely. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 9. This is one of the most liberating statements in the Bible. God's thoughts are higher. This means that He sees what you cannot see and understands what you cannot yet understand. The change that confused you is the same one that heaven used to protect you. You saw disruption, God saw deliverance. What was lost to you was redirection to Him. He doesn't change the plan, He improves the path. The route changes when the heart needs to be healed. God knows there are ways that would get you there sooner, but would leave you empty. So He changes the pace, changes the direction, even changes the scenery, all to keep you on track with His purpose. Because His goal was never to make you comfortable, it was to make you ready. There are times when you look at life and think, "I'm lost," but heaven looks at you and says, "Now you're in the right place." God never loses control of the path, even when you lose understanding. The detour He allows is not confusion, it is care. He is teaching you that His route is about trusting, not about predicting. Your route is not wrong, it is being corrected. God does not change destiny when He changes the path. He changes the process to mature the traveler. What seems like a step backward to you is a step forward for Him. Because heaven does not measure direction by distance, it measures by purpose. Sometimes you need to walk further to be ready. There is no loss when the journey is led by God. He knows the right time to slow down, to hide you, to move you again. The final destination remains the same, even if the signs along the way change. So don't despair when the scenery looks different. It's not confusion, it's divine reconfiguration. The God who began guiding you still has the map in His hands. And every unexpected turn is just another way for Him to tell you, "I'm still taking you there, I just changed the route, not the destination." Human beings have a habit of calling everything that hurts a mistake. But not all pain is a sign of deviation. Sometimes it's a sign that God is strengthening you on the right path. The difficult phase is not the opposite of blessing, it's the environment where it is forged. Purpose does not flourish in comfort, it flourishes in perseverance. What weighs you down today may be what sustains you tomorrow. For I am sure that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed in us. Romans 8 verse 18. This word is like a gentle yet firm reminder. What hurts now is not the end, it is just the interval before revelation. God does not waste pain. He transforms suffering into structure. He uses every difficult phase to consolidate within you something that times of calm could never teach you. It is natural to want to escape pain, but God uses it as a bridge. It is in weakness that character is refined. It is in hardship that faith learns to remain steadfast. The phase that humiliates you today is the same one that will empower you tomorrow. And this is not spiritual theory. It is the way God works. He builds greatness in the midst of struggle. There are roads that seem too long, and there are phases that seem eternal, but none of them are outside of divine control. God measures the time of affliction with precision. He knows how much your heart can take and what each tear will produce. When He allows you to go through something difficult, it is because there is something inside you that will only mature there. Pain is not random. It is a language that heaven uses to communicate growth. While you cry and ask to be let out, God is molding within you the strength of someone who doesn't give up easily. And the curious thing is that when this phase is over, because it will end, you will look back and realize that it didn't destroy anything. It only built resilience. The right path also has stones, but these stones serve to make you stronger. Every stumble that doesn't knock you down teaches you to walk more carefully, and every weight that doesn't paralyze you teaches you to trust beyond what you can see. It is in the darkest stretch of the road that the light of faith becomes most visible. The difficult phase is a lesson in trust. It is the kind of teaching that heaven gives only to those He wants to take further. And while you try to understand the reason for the pain, God is there watching you grow. This part of the journey may seem long, but it is not permanent, it is temporary. And when it's over, you'll realize that your purpose has grown stronger, your heart more mature, and your faith finally unshakable. No phase lasts forever, no desert is eternal. What seems like a delay is actually God's care in doing everything at the right time. This road that seems too long today has an end, and heaven has already determined when. You may not have the timer for the promise, but God does. He knows the exact time when the journey will turn into arrival. Everything has its appointed time, and there is a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. This truth is simple, but it changes everything. Even pain has an expiration date. The phase that now weighs you down will not last longer than necessary to fulfill what God has planned for it. Purpose never wastes suffering, but it also never prolongs it beyond measure. When the lesson is complete, the season changes. Time obeys His voice. God did not leave you stuck. He left you being molded. What seems like a delay to you is preparation for Him. He does not want to give you a blessing that you are not ready to receive. That is why He sometimes prolongs the process. But even prolonging it is love. He knows what awaits you ahead, and what He is doing now is preparing you so that you will not miss what is coming. God's time is a patient sculptor. Every day, every silence, every detail is part of the work. While the human clock screams, "It's past time," heaven responds, "It's not the right moment yet." And between these two voices, He continues to sculpt. Waiting, when guided by God, is never punishment, it is construction. The problem is that the impatient heart wants to skip steps, wants to arrive without learning, wants to receive without maturing. But God does not anticipate miracles just to please anxiety. He fulfills promises when the character is ready to sustain what has been asked for. The time of the crossing is the time of spiritual maturity. And the good news is this: every crossing has a limit. God does not allow infinite pain or eternal silence. There is an exact point where the process ends, and He Himself changes the scenario. It is at that moment that everything that seemed stuck begins to move again. The difficult phase has a time to end, and when that time comes, it will be natural. Nothing forced, nothing improvised. You will look around and realize that the burden is gone. Your heart is lighter, and the road finally makes sense meaning. God has already marked the end of this cycle, and when He decides to turn the page, you will understand the reason for every twist and turn, every pause, every tear. The time of pain will end, and something new will come in its place. Because every journey made with God has a certain destination, and every phase has an end date. There are moments when everything changes suddenly. A plan falls through, a door closes, something that seemed certain simply falls apart. It is instinctive to think that it was a mistake, that you did something wrong, or that God forgot. But heaven does not miscalculate. What seems like a loss is often a strategic detour of divine care. He knows routes that protect you from falls you can't even imagine yet. The steps of a good man are confirmed by the Lord, and He delights in His way. Psalm chapter 37, verse 23. This word is comfort and direction. God not only watches the path, He confirms it. This means that every step, even the ones that seem uncertain, is under heavenly supervision. The path changes when the old route would leave wounds that you would not yet have the strength to bear. The detour is grace in disguise. We usually give thanks for open doors, but ignore how much the closed ones have delivered us. There are paths that seemed perfect, but were traps. There are encounters that seemed like blessings, but would bring weariness. There are dreams that seemed like promises, but would take you away from God's true will. When He changes the path, He is silently saying, "I know what comes next, and I don't want to see you fall there." The problem is that human beings only see the present. And the present sometimes hurts. It hurts to lose what was planned. It hurts to start over. It hurts not to understand. But God doesn't need your understanding to act. He needs your trust to continue. The change of course is often His hand pulling you back from the abyss. While you complain about the path that didn't work out, heaven celebrates the deliverance you haven't yet realized. Because the changed route saved you from something your heart wanted, but your future couldn't handle. He protected you from what seemed good, but wasn't safe. God is not a GPS that recalculates. He is the author of the map. No turn is accidental, no delay is wasted. And even when the landscape changes and the horizon disappears, He continues to guide you with precision. Nothing is off course, only off your radar. God's path is perfect because He sees what you don't see. Every change is an invisible shield, every redirection is a gesture of love. And when time passes, you will look back and understand that that detour was the greatest deliverance of your life. So, the next time something changes without warning, don't despair. Just say, "God, if you changed the path, it's because you are delivering me." And keep walking because the map is still in His hands, and He never misses the direction. You may be tired, confused, not understanding where this road is taking you. But before you doubt the path, remember, God does not make mistakes. This phase has an end date, and He is guiding you even when the terrain seems difficult. Now take a break, not to try to understand, but to talk to Him. Let's pray together. Lord, I no longer want to fight against the paths you have chosen for me. How many times have I tried to force a direction and all I found was a wall? How many times have I questioned you about long roads when you were only protecting me from dangerous shortcuts? Today, I just want to rest. I want to walk, even without seeing the destination, but with the certainty that you are still holding my hand. God, thank you for not leaving me where I wanted to be and for taking me where I needed to go. Even when I rebel, your care does not retreat. Even when I lose myself inside, your love finds me. You know what you are doing, even when it seems that there is no logic in what is happening. I confess, I am afraid of what I do not understand, but today I choose to give you that fear, because it only weighs me down. Teach me to trust in what you are doing, even when everything seems to be at a standstill. Help me remember that delay is sometimes your way of freeing me from something I would call a blessing, but that would destroy me later on. Father, give me patience to wait, faith to continue, and peace to not try to escape the process. If this phase is not over yet, it is because there is still something to learn here. So give me eyes to see the purpose in the midst of pain, and a heart to perceive your care in the little things. I don't want to look at the time anymore and think that you have forgotten me. I want to look at the time and understand that you are maturing me. Lord, Thank you for the curves that saved me, for the silences that taught me, and for the detours that protected me. Thank you for the answers that didn't come, but kept me in the center of your will. Today, I completely surrender my ways to you. I no longer want to run ahead or stop out of fear. I want to walk at the pace of your care, even when I cannot see the whole map. I believe that you do not make mistakes. And if this phase still hurts, it is because you are still refining something within me. But I know that it will end. And when that time is over, what will remain is your faithfulness and a more mature heart ready to move forward. In Jesus' name, Amen. God never loses his way, even when you feel like everything has gone off course. Every turn, every pause, every door that has closed is part of a precise plan, designed with love and precision. He knows where you are and the destination that awaits you. And the journey between those two places is what is transforming you. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Psalm 138, verse 8. This is the truth that sustains those who trust even when they are tired. God did not let you walk alone. He only made you walk in the dark to teach you to hear his voice better. And this time, which seems endless, is not punishment. It is preparation. Your phase has an end date. And when that happens, you will understand why it had to be this way. Everything that seemed like a delay was God adjusting your heart to the right time. Everything that seemed like silence was God teaching you to depend more on him and less on yourself. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was outside the plan. Even the tears were seeds that heaven is watering to give you a harvest later on. God did not fail you. You did not stray from your purpose. This phase is just one chapter, and the author is still writing. So take a deep breath, dry your eyes, and remember, the map is still in the right hands. And when he decides to turn the page, it will be at the exact moment when your heart is ready to understand the reason for every turn in the road. If this message spoke to you, it is because God is reminding you. You are not lost. You are being led. Share this video with someone who is also going through a difficult time, thinking that the path has gone wrong. It may be exactly the confirmation that person needs to keep going. Leave it here in the comments. God is guiding me, and this phase has an end date. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Here, every word is a reminder from heaven for those who are tired, but still believe. And before you leave, take a look at the first pinned comment. There is special material there, prepared to accompany you week after week with purpose, prayer, and spiritual direction. Support for your journey with God on good days, and especially on the quiet days. Stay with God and see you next time. The time that hurts is the same time that prepares you. And when this phase ends, because it will end, you will understand that the difficult path was, in fact, the safest one to take you to the best place. I hope this message has spoken to your heart and brought you peace and comfort. You are not alone. God is with you on this journey. May God bless you greatly.